All right, rolling on with the clinic this weekend. Coach Klee is back again. Going to talk a couple 3-4 front, 3-4 pressures, all that good stuff, and this 3-4 defense. Coach, take it away.
Coach Steve, thanks for having me back on. Yeah, I think ultimately the thing that's kind of an important part of, obviously, make sure we share the right tab here. There we go. Important part of any defense. Sometimes if you don't cover well, your best option is pressure and make sure the ball comes out soon, because at least you aren't beat when you maybe don't match up. So some 3-4 pressures is what this presentation is going to be about, and we get pretty multiple. If you haven't checked in before, really believe in playing defense with all 11 defenders. Give them sound keys to attack downhill, pursue, make swarming tackles, and play with effort, energy, enthusiasm. What you're going to get here, I hope this is in the right order. Let me back out half a second. It's ever so slightly out of order, so I'll be jumping around a lot. All right, so my philosophy on pressure ended up changing quite a bit. In 2018, we got beat. We got beat by a team that their quarterback went on to Western Michigan University. I think he played safety in the end, but like he got a preferred walk-on. Tried to play quarterback there. I think he ended up playing safety. The team we were playing, they had another guy that ended up being a decathlete at the University of Michigan. About a 6'4" or 6'5" wide receiver, decent speed, definitely tall. I watched him high jump 6'8" at a track meet later on in that spring. And then they had another guy, last name was Bartholomew. He was a preferred walk-on at the University of Michigan. I kind of lost tabs of him since then. But and then they had two more receivers that just weren't slouches. And after we played mostly, we had the game plan of let's keep everything in front of us. Let's pattern match and, try and not lose the game. And that did not work out. The first time we played them, we had a rematch in the playoffs, and all these clips coming up, we had the philosophy, well, we didn't cover them last time. The quarterback would always find that open receiver or end up scrambling because four guys pressuring 5 offensive linemen. They were really good at pass blocking. This is Kalamazoo United. They're a co-op of the Kalamazoo Christian and Kalamazoo Hackett Catholic here in Michigan for any guys from Michigan who check this out at some point. So they were just really good, really good. I think the quarterback, I think he set the single season passing touchdown record in the state of Michigan. So we decided let's pressure him in the playoffs. So and the mindset was just like an offensive coordinator will have, some starters, have some openers. We made a very conscious effort to make sure we had 5 different pressures lined up for the first 5 plays of the game. First one we called nose 43 attack, and the whole idea, let's speed this up. And the ball's got to come out quick. We corner actually strips the ball, and we almost. So you're feeling good, and you're giving your kids a chance. So next one, nose 34, cross attack blaze. So for us, attack, we got somebody going in the A gap. Blaze, we got somebody going in the B gap. Simple stuff. Like none of this, I think, is completely earth shattering or anything. But it's the idea, like have a system for your pressures and be able to play good man coverage if you want a man pressure, and that's what the first couple clips here are, or the first several clips are. And try and speed up the offense. I think they go jailbreak, bazooka go. So again, bringing 5 guys. and receiver goes and makes a play. But at least the ball had to come out soon. Our corners got a shot at staying in coverage. So now we're going to bring cannons are for our outside linebackers, C gap, double edge pressure, and we also bring a middle linebacker. They throw a bubble out. Now this is one disadvantage of man coverage. Your leverage for something like a bubble. Ultimately, you got to also coach up the fundamental of your DBs. Hey, go into the outside, window to the outside, and turn that back. Our safety probably was just a little too far away. No doubt about it. It was too far away to be able to get there and make the play. 10-yard gain, though. Not the end of the world. Then we jump into even front. So we keep the exact same personnel on the field. The way we jump in our even front, and I'll talk about this just a little bit in a second presentation. We ultimately, we're usually going to bring the boundary outside linebacker down as the defensive end on the boundary side. And then our three defensive linemen, our end, nose, and tackle, stay in there. And we are coaching our outside linebacker. All right, you got the swing. You got number 3 if he swings on this. So this is 22 double attack. We're bringing both inside linebackers in the A gaps. That running back swings. The stud outside linebackers got him. If he would swing, if he would cross to the other side, the Bob outside linebacker, who is technically a defensive end, he has him on some sort of pass or run fake to that side. And if that running back blocks, the outside linebacker is going to try and add himself to the pressure. And now this is a completely different look than what they've had, because we've our safety, he's fixed himself. He's walked up. One kind of coaching point, if you're using man cover 0 man, you're using man pressures. Right now, this is a good example. Our safety, he is lowest and tightest. He doesn't want to get beat by a bubble again. Corner is a little bit deeper, and then the other safety is deepest. So you want those guys on different levels in case they run some sort of crossing routes. That way you can stay in your coverage. So we bring the pressure here, and ultimately we get a hit on the quarterback, which really is speeding up his clock now. So I really liked how we got home there. And again, I think they hadn't seen an even front on film. So we come back with the exact same pressure. Pretty clear we're in man coverage. We're following them around there. And their only answer early on, they're thinking, hey, we get a long shot here. We got a shot play. Well, our DBs are doing a pretty darn good job covering. They try and get it to their all-state wide receiver, decathlete at Michigan, and our corner just he interfered. Not by much. It's the hands early. Right there, he's got him tackled. I'm not going to argue that call, and that's one of the things you got to live with. I think playing cover 0. That's one of the downfalls. Okay, so backup quarterback in. They go speed option, and they get it down to the 6. So it's one of those things. Game planning, you're like, darn it, didn't really account for the quarterback running quite that much. They go to throw here. The starting quarterback's back in, and you can tell he is thinking catch, release, try and get the ball out on rhythm. Overthrows it just a little bit. So we've thrown the timing off by bringing the pressures. Here we are. This was fun, and that's ultimately what pressures are to me. Nose 34, attack, cross blaze. So if we say cross, a linebacker is going to cross with the defensive lineman somewhere. Typically, it's the nose. We now call this out here. That would just be loop. So our call for this now would be nose 34, weak attack, loop. We're looping on the backside here. So they go 2 back. They understand they got to get more guys in the box to block, and it causes the slant by our nose is really what gets the tackle for loss here, or no gain. So we've adjusted what they want to do. They want to throw the ball around. We backed them up a little bit. Yeah, that was 3rd and 2. 4th and 2. I'll talk about this a little bit more. Our outside linebacker's just not quite decisive enough. He plays halfway in between. The quarterback makes a really good play, and they got us out leveraged. He should be wrapping up top, and then the pitch can't get out here. Our inside linebacker hesitated because the quarterback didn't get tackled right away. So our inside linebacker is 2 steps slow from being able to go make the tackle on the speed option. But that was, we gave our kids a chance. Our kids really believed going into that game, and we kept that first quarter to like 14-6. Thought we had a shot at upsetting them in the second time around. So just that's changed my mindset on blitzing. Like there's times and places for it, and a lot of times it's it forces the offense to have to execute at a faster speed. So some blitzing, pressuring, stunt considerations. I don't think it's a substitute for a great base defense. Calling a pressure is effective when it's either you take 1 or 2 approaches. You're mixing in the pressure as a curveball, or most of the time you are pressuring and you're mixing in base calls as the curveball. So that's kind of a game planning thing. And again, you want to attack the offensive execution, find out what gives them problems. Always consider your coverages when you're designing or calling a pressure. We got to the point where just operating from too high. Cover 0 has been our most natural way of pressuring and playing coverage behind it. You take away the quick, easy routes. Your inside leverage, most teams aren't going to try and throw a slant. A hitch is always going to be broken up, and I think we'll see that on some of the film coming up here. So make sure you're considering your coverage. It's not extremely sound to be bringing 6 guys and be playing cover 4 behind it. There's just way too many windows for offense to pick you apart. So you want to make sure you're accounting for all receiving threats. One thing that drives me crazy, that my mind's blown, is a lot of teams overlook the fact that the running back could be a passing threat, and that's some teams. That's one of their first couple answers, is getting the running back out on a route if that's something that they've practiced before when they get man coverage. And watching NFL teams at times just leave running backs, like there's no one in the area code. I get if they get a mismatch, but there's sometimes no one in the area code of a receiver, and that just doesn't make sense to me. So that's something you want to make sure you're considering. And then make sure the pressure still soundly accounts for all the gaps. And we're really big on making sure we set some sort of edge. You don't want the quarterback being able to just go to the perimeter. Some of the coverages that we have used, excuse me for a second. Some of the coverages we've used some 3 deep, 3 under, sky coverage, by and large. So the corner and then the boundary deep safety would be playing the deep thirds in that. And then the field safety, which is typically, we call him the free, he's rolling down to play the seam of 2 while the linebackers control 3 and the seam of 2 to the boundary. Like I talked about most recently, we've been mostly cover 0. We just feel it fits in a too high shell a little bit more. You're not asking outside linebackers to carry a seam, and you're not trying to teach up a safety play, a true deep third. And we don't normally operate with a single high safety, so it just fits us a little bit better. Philosophically, the other reason, I feel like if you're truly a 1 high team, you at some point, if you're playing a lot of cover 1 man, as much as the safety can kind of help an outside linebacker, I feel like at some point you're kind of teaching 5 guys to play really good man coverage. So that's just kind of another philosophy thing. And talk about it here real shortly. When we get to the cover 0 stuff a little bit more, you got to make sure you are clear on option responsibilities, and you teach your outside linebackers blitz peel when you're blitzing. So here's just some how we've gone about calling our 3 under 3 deep, our fire zones. Blizzard, B for boundary. L is long stick by that boundary tackle. And then our MAC linebacker is going to show like he's coming. He's going to take the A gap to the field, and then he's crossing, taking the B gap to the boundary. Our Will, if it's trips here, his number 2 is that running back. That's what he's concerned about. And you see our safety. We're rolling down to the left here. That safety is responsible for the seam 2 corner. The right side safety in the corner. They're dropping to deep thirds. So 3rd and 7, let's try and get some pressure. And ultimately we get the ball knocked out. And by crossing guys up, our outside linebacker of the field, he ends up completely unaccounted for. And then the blitzing linebacker, the blitzing Will from the top of the screen, also ends up getting home. Okay, Monsoon would be our middle fire 3, zone fire 3. Outside linebacker of the boundary is now dropping. He's on that number 2. The tackle to the boundary is looping out as the edge pressure. If we would get run, that outside linebacker is responsible for folding back into the B gap, but he is keying that running back, so that's something that's there. And then we always taught this as a double cross, so a double A gap, but with zone coverage behind it, and the A gaps are crossing. And 4th and 15. If our end to the field keeps a little better leverage, we've flushed the quarterback immediately from the pocket. He's running from number 88. You put that center in a spot where the center there's too many guys to block, especially without a running back. This ends up being empty. And the quarterback does a very ridiculous job scrambling around, getting the ball off. We do end up with a pick. You know, our deep safety ends up coming up with a play. Let you watch the execution by the linebackers real quick. And usually it's that second linebacker, just the pursuit angle out of 88. It's not, he's not aiming for that deep shoulder. So that's a fundamental thing of teaching kids their pass rush responsibilities. Lightning is Blizzard, but from the field. We typically install Lightning first. So edge pressure from the outside linebacker, long stick from the D end. A lot of people call this NCAA blitz, and again, we're cover 3 behind it. What I pay attention to the 3 technique to the top of the screen on the first watch through. So that the offensive tackle is used to going out to that defensive end. We are in a true like 4-2-5 type look right now. And we get a one-on-one with our 3 technique on that guard. End up getting the sack. Let's get into some of the man stuff. Just a bunch of different ways to call them. 13 attack, so maybe it's out front, maybe it's not. Again, we used to be a little bit more 4-2-5, so just a simple A gap pressure. And like I feel like this is extremely sound. Speed up the quarterback, and we get home. End zone shot that could have zoomed in a little bit more. Again, that linebacker ends up being faster than the center. It's a good matchup. Probably one again, so this is same thing, but on movement. So we're slanting. I think we end up slanting to the field. Yep. Our inside linebacker flushes them, and our outside linebacker ends up making the tackle. So just a full slant to the right, bring the A-gap linebacker to the backside. And again, you get home. You force offensive linemen at the high school level to pick up a blitz. They are not as good at it. This one here, our inside linebacker, who is super excited about going, him and the safety talk pre-snap. The safety said, they come out and empty. We're just going to man this on the backside. You can still go. He's like, there's no point. He knows number 5 is much better at doing this, chase the quarterback down and get the sack, than he is in helping in coverage. Okay, something that's important. So if we are only bringing 5, it's pretty easy to make sure we get the running back accounted for. What we've made as a call, if the outside linebacker says ace, he's got the A back. He's got the A back on a swing. He's got the running back on option if somebody comes at speed option. This is what we picked up after getting beat by speed option. Made it super clear and really emphasized this as much as anything else. Getting home against the pass coverage, that's something that just takes care of itself. Working option responsibilities, that's a little bit harder. So the ace call, outside linebackers on the running back, the inside linebackers are responsible for the quarterback. If we make a queen call, we kind of make fun of the quarterback, I guess, a little bit, calling the other team's quarterback a queen. Now the outside linebacker has the quarterback, and inside linebacker is responsible for the running back. I think if you were watching our coverage the other day, yep, we are right now. That's the ace call. Outside linebackers got to get to the A back. That's also the concept of blitz peel. I get a running back out. I got to go match him. The DBs are in man coverage. They're not going to help. The linebackers got to take care of that running back. So anything we go 3-0-3 or 4-0-4, but pinch, like I treat those, it's the same thing. And I think it's a little bit better on movement. Here we go, double pinch. So both 4 techniques are taking B gap. Outside linebackers are in C gap. And it's not necessarily the blitzers that end up making the sack. It's speed up that quarterback, make him take his eyes off going downfield. And by the time he does that, a lot of times if the inside pinch has worked, we got a D lineman in who's got a half sack on that. Get you the end zone shot. So by pinching both the tackle, especially on the top of the screen or the right side of the screen, the tackle doesn't fan out and take the outside linebacker. We got 2 guys on the 4 technique that was pinching inside right here. Eventually does get home. That tackle's trying to do too much. So again, double pinch cannon. They ended up putting, no, they didn't put the tight end in yet. Same thing, tackle. So now the tackle does work out. The guard loses his leverage on the 4 technique that's pinching. 4 technique gets there. That was Pablo for us. Pablo was actually a second string guy. He's given one of our starters a blow, and Pablo found 4 sacks this game, and 3 of them were purely just his teammates setting him up pressure situation. Real good job. I talked a little bit earlier about making sure DBs in man coverage. All right, ball does get thrown. It's a forward pass. I can come out of coverage now. I got to win to the outside. Wins to the outside, forces a fumble because it's perfect textbook profile tackle. Throwing the clubs, puts his face mask on the ball. One of the club knocks the ball out. Almost get a big turnover. And again, you're just watching the box here. You speed up everything here. There's the pinch. There's the outside linebacker on the cannon. Ball has to come out to the bubble very, very quickly. Let's get to So now double pinch, cannon, and attack. We're bringing 6 guys. So now inside linebacker 100% has the running back coaching point. I think on longer downs and distances, I prefer bringing ultimately outside linebackers. Make sure you get the quarterback in the pocket. Earlier downs, typically a inside linebacker and try and disrupt things if I'm blitzing, not on like a 3rd and long. See, our inside linebacker completely unblocked, ends up forcing a fumble. And again, the pressure, it's about all the guys working together here. Inside linebacker's down blocked because the center has so much attention on the nose. Nose gets rid of him. He is the big guy that gets the scoop and score here. So big 315-pound James. They can't tackle him. His one career touchdown. We do it against the T. So 3-0-3, you bring the attack. What bringing an A-gap pressure does with the nose, that center's so focused on the nose, the center sometimes doesn't block back for his pulling guard, which happens here, and tackle for loss. One of those things, we just we'll watch the end zone view of this one. We just timed this up when this is Delton. We just timed it up when they ran counter multiple times. Darn it, we don't have the end zone shot of this one. This one we force a fumble. Quarterback's dealing cards there, and he's hitting the back before he knows it. Ends up getting tackled for a big loss. So again, 3-0-3 and double edge pressure. I kind of treat those the same. Cannon. And real great man coverage. Like that's the other thing. Ball's out quick. I would say the DB, he is on top of this. He's got the wide receiver stacked on his hip. You're speeding up the process of the quarterback. Double edge pressure, and again, you're forcing the quarterback. You can cover for just a little bit, and this is probably the hardest thing for us to cover, being an inside leverage, is out routes like this. Quarterback's never able to set his feet and fire. He has to throw it away. Okay. 2 more man pressures here, and then we'll start talking about fronts. So slant, blaze, attack, cannon. We're going to bring 3 linebackers. We're bringing the 3 defensive line to whatever we determines the strength. Most oftentimes, for matchup reasons, we'll slant to the running back regardless of, the DBs, they've got their 4 guys in man coverage. So we're going to slant to that running back, help out the outside linebacker. That running back has no choice but to either run into that outside linebacker and become be his blitz peel responsibility, or he's going to work across and he would become the other linebacker's blitz peel responsibility. And this was not supposed to be a blaze, but it ended up being slant blaze attack, and it speeds up the quarterback, and you get the interception. A couple more of these. A little rainy. Force the quarterback. If we stay on our feet, we don't give up that 11-yard reception. A little bit more of a run set with 2 H-backs here. Forcing the quarterback to ultimately throw it away. Outside linebacker needs to aim a little bit wider on the bottom of the screen here, so that way we set the edge better. Oh, they catch us. So the running back's to the right. That's why the outside linebacker is not as wide. So we're slanting to the right. Outside linebacker should still be outside the tackle further. Went outside Jackson. He keeps running, so we do force him to throw the ball away. Slant blaze attack cannon again. So we're slanting to the left, running backs to the left. Force the ball out super quick. Again, team's answers are things like bubbles, slants. If that quarterback is not got the ball speed to get the ball out there, they're in a little bit of trouble. Against the run, and ultimately the offensive line doesn't get leverage on the blocks here. This is against basically power read. They're leaving our outside linebacker as the read, and he goes and makes the tackle. There's no place to cut up. One of those, it's a cloudy picture. The quarterback might have just handed it off because it's cloudy. Oh, our inside linebacker misses the tackle there, but we're clean. We're through free. Real good job ripping real quick there. Just finish the tackle. A couple more. So blaze attack loop. Do we get home on this? We'll rain him out of bounds. Real good by our inside linebacker on his blaze to stay active. Our DN should be a little bit further. He needs to be further outside. You got to keep the edge there. The big idea, though, the loop, you get the A-gap blitz. So right now it's slant to the field because there's 3 receivers to that side. It's empty. A-gap blitz takes the guard, and then the 4 technique, taking C-gap, ends up taking the tackle, and that leaves the looping blaze by the outside linebacker completely unaccounted for. Again, just not great leverage by the offense either. Again, sprint out. They did not. They ended up throwing that out of bounds. You see the ref clarifying that. So one of those things, I really coaching point. You got to get upfield and keep contained, and then somebody needs to be in the running lane, and we get to hit. Like they are sprinting out because we've been pressuring in that particular game. Some even front stuff, and then we'll talk about multiple fronts. 22, double blaze. Back in our 4-2-5 days, and you're just disrupting the blocking scheme. 32 attack blaze, and we'll make this the last one, the pressure. Again, it's the whole unit working together, and great coverage by our DBs. Kenyon up top. I think that's Noah at corner. But there's no place to go with the ball. The ball's kind of got to come out right now. He's maybe got this out, but he's not got his feet set, so he has to pull it down. And a big play to back him up. So straight ahead, let's see, can their 5 offensive linemen sort this out, win one-on-ones? Even they add in the running back. Well, they did not clearly communicate who's taking the outside linebacker, who's taking the inside linebacker. Something that I don't think enough teams do at the high school level at times. Okay, talk a little bit about multiple fronts here and why you maybe want to be multiple. So first off, our slant front. And just I don't have this particular slide in the in huddle here, but you want to play multiple fronts, kind of same reason for pressuring, give the offense different looks, and then make sure you are taking away certain plays. If they're attacking C gap, we are typically going to be a slant front if at all possible. If they're attacking kind of the B gap, A gap area, we're probably going to be angle front a little bit more often. So our slant rules: outside linebacker is going to set force to one of their sides with a stud or bob call. The opposite force is typically going to be a defensive back for us, unless we, and that's true in most situations until somebody gets spread out, then it might be one of our inside linebackers. Corner's going to play force anytime we got zero detached receivers. That always overrides things. We become a spill player anytime the corner comes up and makes a combo call. It always overrides the outside linebackers playing force. Safety will play force if we get one detached receivers. Kind of think a pro set can play from a couple different alignments, and the inside linebacker ends up being the force player if there's two detached receivers. Can widen out as much as a 60 technique. One thing that's really important that I don't know when I picked it up, but like you want, if your inside linebacker ever needs to widen, make sure you are closing his B gap. We've used the terminology of tank, which is 3 or tackle to A gap if needed. So our alignments there, again, we're field boundary. So strong side alignments. We're going to have an outside linebacker and a wide 9 technique. We'll play a 5 technique and a 0 technique. Weak side alignments, outside linebacker is going to be a 6 technique, and we'll have a 4. The 0, 4, 6, they're all slanting to the next O-line to the strength. The 5's already there. You can also play this from 4-0-4. We do feel at times getting in that 5 technique lets the player is typically a little bit better at squeezing a tackle down block if that would ever end up happening. So there we are, strengths to the tight end. That's where our slant's going. If we get 2x2 like this, we're going to slant to the extra receiver. We're doing that to keep an outside linebacker in coverage here. You got 2 options of how you want to play the backside outside linebacker. He could be a D-gap guy by game plan, and that makes the free essentially a C-gap fitter the second he gets a block out of that number 2 receiver. Or you can make sure the ball's going to the perimeter and he's a C-gap guy. So that's kind of a game plan thing. Slanting number 1. So it's number 1. It's going to give that outside linebacker a chance to make sure he doesn't get reached. And a lot of coaches be like, well, coach, he ended up inside. Well, his tight end doesn't get him reached. That is the wing coming across in motion, down blocking him. That tells both our safety. You can see he's pulling a trigger already because the tight end's trying to reach our 5 technique, and our corner can pull his trigger because his only receiving threat is also down blocking. The outside linebacker makes a heck of a play. I mean, a 3-yard loss there. So slanting to a sweep, a stretch play, really, really beneficial. Slanting to motion. And this is not a great blocking scheme by any means. But we're slanting to the motion, set the edge. Quarterback runs into it. Outside linebacker makes the play there. Jackson. T. Against full house T, we will typically define one of the tight ends as the primary strength for our slant call. And we're calling all the strengths off one of the tight ends. Typically, most of the time it's really because that halfback's running into that tight end, but that tight end's also the better blocker. Great job of stringing the play out. We'll get to and then that's ultimately what a slant does. It makes sure we're keeping outside leverage. Real good by our outside linebacker. You can see right here, the corner comes up. He's forcing it. We've got every gap filled. We get just a little bit reached by a second back. The fullback ends up, number 10, I can't tell. Oh, the darn quarterback gets out there leading. That's the only thing that slows down our 5 technique, and they run out of real estate. Slanting to the jet. And it ends up putting, they got to work their double teams. Got to work their double teams. Got to work their back block. If you're slanting from a 4 technique on the backside, typically tackles don't have great leverage. They got to step extra flat, and they just don't get it done there. We get penetration with that 4 technique on the backside of the slant here. Another example of running it down from the backside. Tackle doesn't have leverage. Our 4 technique does a great job running things down from behind. End zone shot's not great. Outside linebacker, real good leverage. And then this is a ridiculous play by our safety. Outside linebacker's in his D gap. We get pushed back a little too much I think we go 4. I think we're lined up in a 4. That's mislabeled up top. But outside linebacker is going to be able to keep the edge on the number 2. Inside linebacker sees the B gap close because our 4 technique's not fighting the reach as well as he should. He's not slanting as hard as you should. Inside linebacker adjusts. Almost gets a run through, and our safety, by slanting, that tight end is 100% blocking right now. That is the safety's coverage responsibility. The safety can pull his trigger and go. Real good profile tackle example. Okay, they unbalanced. We're going to unbalance with them. Slanting to it. Again, running it down. A lot of times people think, all right, you're slanting so they don't get outside to the slant side. Well, against things like ISO here, we end up running it down from behind because they do not get, our nose forces the cutback, and both inside linebackers are unblocked. The outside linebacker ends up getting in on it too here. Good job chasing on the heel line by the outside linebacker. Missed at the outside linebacker, but our safety, once again, number 2 is definitely blocking. The number 2 receiver, I think it's a tight end this time. It's a tight end body, but he's lined up as flexed off the line. Our outside linebacker works his butt off, forces the ball go deeper and wider, and safety runs it down for a 1-yard loss. So, again, the slant, you're either trying to chase it down from the backside, the backside 0, the 4 technique, trying to chase it down from behind, setting the edge good with the outside linebacker and the 5 technique, and making it clear. Again, we've got, oh my goodness, our safety, it pulls his trigger really well here. I think that's 12. Let's make the tackle though. Our outside linebacker does a great job. Stretch, rip off the block, make the tackle, and our corner, he feels a crack replace. Probably not super sound, but our corner gets involved as well. So last 9 minutes, we'll talk about an angle. So slant and underfront, we kind of consider those the same thing. Slanting moves us to an underfront. Our angle call is movement to an overfront. So biggest reason we use it, if we're facing a 2-back team and we want outside linebackers flat out to be a force defender on one side but off the ball, that would be one of the biggest reasons we end up using it. So again, either angling from that outside linebacker or lining up in the overfront. We consider those 2 things to be the same. Terminology wise, if we're lining up in an overfront, we call it 32. Stud is the force to the field. Dog safety walks down and is forced to the boundary. 6 technique to the tight end. He's going to automatically pinch. 3 to the strength, 2 away. The 2 technique is going to be on an auto pinch. And then 5 technique. Linebackers stack the guards, inside linebackers. Again, gets that outside linebacker off the ball. Really good for some of our pattern match stuff. From our 4-2-5 roots that we used my first 2 seasons as defensive coordinator. And a couple things that, again, you want to have multiple fronts, you want to have multiple line movements. That 2 technique, and I believe he's ultimately a 2I on this particular clip. He's going to cut the offensive run scheme in half and leave our inside linebacker completely unblocked. We missed just a little bit. Should have been a 1-yard gain if our inside linebacker fits that a little bit tighter. 55 could fit it a little tighter. 88 cleans it up. But ultimately, the A-gap's taken away. And he's got a one-way go. So that's the reason for the call. I really feel, we'll watch the end zone shots here because we have them. So that A-gap defensive lineman ends up taking away cutback opportunities. Nothing's going back over there. So now both inside linebackers can work their butt off to get to the other A-gap. Our 3 techniques set his B-gap. Our 1 technique /2I has set his A-gap. And the ball bounces. Ooh, didn't know. We just missed the tackle at the 3 technique there. How much? Ended up being -1 though. Okay. Quarterback ISO here. Again, this is as much D-line fundamentals as anything. There is really, because of the play by that 1 technique, there's really only one option. You gotta take this A-gap, and that means the block of the backside guard becomes irrelevant. The inside linebacker doesn't have to fill that B-gap. It's a way of stealing a gap if your 1 technique or your nose can play it really well. To show you how, like, that is open window. Go fill it. 55. 88 gets over there, and we get both inside linebackers immediately in on the tackle for a 1-yard gain. Same thing, spill it out. So the 1 technique makes it have to go B gap. The guard doesn't have good alignment on the inside linebacker, doesn't have a good angle working up to him on his combo. And then the second he leaves, this is a great example of D-line play. All right, I'm getting double team. Fight the pressure. The second the pressure leaves, the nose tackle ends up being in on the tackle. Backside 3 technique as well. That team's just not very good at run blocking. Okay, make sure we get a little bit of our odd stuff before we go here. So a lot of even. This stuff's good. So this is, we are in our odd front here. No, even front. It says 32 up top. Safeties walk down here to the field, and we put our boundary outside linebacker. We felt, this particular team, we felt that the way they beat us is speed to the field. So we put our fastest defender at walk down, and then we got a free safety keying. Ultimately, he's keying number 6 here, who goes in motion. Set the edge real well with the outside, with the safety, and heck of a tackle for loss. Great job by him fighting through, and we do also get a holding call. I think it's holding. No, it's motion. Tackle for loss. Defensive end unaccounted for. And again, we got the matchup, our safety almost with the interception. Unfortunately, that's a 2-point play. That backside A gap, that's hard for a guard to scoop. Leaves him unblocked, 1-yard loss. All right, where is? Here we go. So 40 angle. Here's us actually in an odd front instead of lining up in an even front, but it's going to accomplish the same thing. Kind of move towards using this a little bit more. Get to the end zone shot here. So again, talked about, so we are going to be the running back's the strength. So our call left, angle, go away. Angle is away. So we're doing two things that angle front ends up benefiting you and why you maybe want to include that as a call. Number one, the nose is going to take that A gap immediately and potentially force a cutback. Number two, the reason we were doing it in this particular game, that is giving our 4 technique a chance to run down the give on zone and try and force the quarterback to pull it to an outside linebacker who's going to be unblocked. So that's ultimately why we're doing it here. And our nose tries swimming and he gets washed real bad. But the running back only has one place to commit. Our backside inside linebacker is completely unblocked. And he's able to make the tackle for a 1-yard gain. And that's ultimately our 4 technique. Keep working in there, Cole. Keep working in there. Our 4 technique, they understood this. This is a little bit later in the game. So the guard's trying to double up, and the guard just can't double up fast enough. Keep the inside linebacker unblocked. We'll go 2 more clips here. Outside linebackers in C gap. 4 techniques B gap. Nose works backside A. And the tackle is backside C. We've got, again, we've walked the safety down to the field as force. So we're skied over there. And then we have Bob outside linebacker forced into the boundary. And even though they just can't get the nose blocked. And our 3 technique, everybody's in on that particular tackle. So again, angle, left, angle, go to the right. And now our outside linebacker to the boundary, he's got C gap, he's got the quarterback if he would pull it on a keep. Nose makes, there's no chance to go to A gap, so both inside linebackers can fall in. You see our outside linebacker, I don't know why he dips his head like that. But he's trying to be part of the tackle, so good enough play by Brendan. 2 more clips here. We are angling to the right. So left, angle is the communication. Safety is skied down here. And the safety, now we leave stuff wide open. The safety's showing up too fast for the quarterback, ends up with a sack. And last clip here. Left, angle. Take the gap away from the call. Outside linebacker, great position. That tight end they were counting on that tight end keeping the 9 technique out. 9 technique crosses his face. 3 technique does a good job running his circle. Or 4 technique stunting to a 3, and we get 2 for 1 there. So slant front, that really helps you chase things down from the backside and keep it in. We feel like the angle front lets you take away inside run and kind of spill the ball to the outside. So having a reason why you're calling your strengths, I think is every bit as important as coaching. You know, obviously you got to coach the responsibilities, but as a coach, make sure you got a reason why you're going multiple fronts. Don't just do it to do it. Do it to make sure you're taking away something that the offense does well.
Coach, great stuff. I have one big question about the 3-4. Do you need a big nose guard to do this, or can he be a little smaller?
If you're moving, you don't. We were really blessed for about a 2-year stretch there where we had we had two guys that were 300 pounds, and that obviously makes it bit better. But then some of those clips there, and we were more slant with smaller guys. I guess I don't really know why. I don't know if it was just because those were smaller guys or that's what we game planned up. But if you're moving, I think you know, that 170-pound wrestling guy on movement, that's kind of the type of guy we had. He was about 5'8", and I probably during football season weighed about 180 pounds, and he just was quick, had a motor. Really, I think obviously bigger and stronger is better, but quickness at nose is absolutely the most important. I mean, many of the plays that the nose is made there, ultimately they're making it because they're getting into their A gap, whether it's slant or angle. They're into that A gap quicker than the center can handle. And if the guard's not working a down block double team with that center, you know, he's going to beat him with speed, actually more often than strength. So that's my philosophy. If you want to gap, yeah, you need a bigger guy there, and we still mix that in as a call. But if it's a littler guy, we're going to be moving and seeing a lot of 3-4 teams be highly successful with a nose that's maybe a little bit undersized.
Yeah, that's a lot of people that steer away from the 3-4s if they don't have the big guy. But
and also, no offense to, I won't say all our noses were dumb, but like that's you can hide that special ed kid who's just you know, we refer to him as special ed strong, so to speak. Use a little different word, but not maybe politically correct. But that type of strength is a thing. And that kid's a kid who's, if he's out at 4 technique, 3 technique, he's going to get trapped. Put that kid at nose and just tell him which way to go and let him go. So
right.
That's one other thing that we've done with that position. It's the 4 techniques that got to be maybe the little bit bigger guys, I guess, especially some of the T teams we see. So.
Right. Well, Coach, I appreciate you presenting all of that. That was 2 presentations in 1 session. So I appreciate you doing that.
Yep. Thanks for having me out, man.